have cystic fibrosis. I live with the disease in everyday life. I had 2 siblings who had cystic fibrosis and lost their battle, and a lot of other patients around my age who I've grown up with have also lost their battle. So my personal interest and motivation with exomedicine is to hopefully potentially find some scientific piece of knowledge that we don't already have to help develop drugs to help cure the disease. It is personal for me. My research area when I first met Chris Kimmel was cystic fibrosis, and nothing had been done on the area of cystic fibrosis in space. The only link to space medicine and cystic fibrosis was the fact that 2 types of bacteria, which are key players in cystic fibrosis lung disease, are very prominent on the International Space Station, particularly in their water and the growth in water. And that's why there has to be such a high sterilisation system on the space station, because obviously water is recycled and regenerated in space. And Chris really inspired me to try to understand what concepts we can come up with in space to try to overcome cystic fibrosis barriers. So things like drug resistance is a big part of cystic fibrosis treatment, and gene therapy was another barrier. So I formulated ideas as to how we can send cystic fibrosis cells to space, antibiotics related to cystic fibrosis to space, and to try to come up with some new gene therapy delivery ideas, and that's really why I'm here today. Like anything, it's a long process for research. So my white paper was written in 2012, and at the moment I'm on a Fullbright Scholarship at the University of Rhode Island in the chemical engineering department. At present we are working on, myself and Dr. Samantha Minick, who is a professor in chemical engineering, we are preparing CF cell lines to go to space to discover whether or not they change in space, if they have any benefit to our future. My other interest area is diabetes, and I think there is a big area for development with stem cell research and microgravity. So that's a big interest for me. Also infectious disease and microbiology, as I mentioned about the antibiotic resistance. So those are my 2 other key areas. And then maybe eventually some type of tissue regeneration in space, which would be really interesting.